As an audio producer, I get a lot of inquiries these days about podcast production, which is awesome because I've been a big fan of podcasts for about a bit over 10 years now. And I now have a few podcast clients that I do regular editing for. I've produced around 100 episodes for various people so far. So between what I've edited and what I've listened to, I follow quite a few podcasts. And they used to be, back 10 years ago, 1997, there used to just be reheated radio shows, which in their own way were fantastic. But these days, you got people broadcasting from their bedrooms, from a home office, from the cafe, from down the beach, probably from the International Space Station. It brings you a whole lot of different perspectives of how people can see life, which is amazing. But at the same time, it does present a few audio quality issues. And one that I'll mention today is loudness. How loud is your podcast? Now, this is important in my opinion because, well, when it comes to other broadcasting methods, let's say TV, the TV is on across the living room from you. When it comes to radio, radio would possibly be in the back of the car, like behind the car seats, or it would be on your bedside table. When it comes to podcasts, you're right in people's ear canals. It's a really intimate medium, and I think there's a little bit of respect that I'd encourage people to have when it comes to the way they edit and the way they mix, just to, it becomes a safety thing, because if your episode is too loud, then bam, people are going to be ripping out their earbuds. If your episode is too soft, then people are going to be turning you up, and then at the end of their episode, it'll skip across to another episode, and bam, same issue again, right? They're pulling out their earbuds. Now, podcasting being such a free medium, there's no formal protocols, at least as of when this video was made in 2017. Now, on forums though, people have gravitated towards a certain standard, which is this. It's a loudness standard. Now, I say loudness, I don't say volume. There's a difference between volume and loudness. You see, volume is how much audio there is at any moment in time. So you can adjust a sound file's volume to peak at, say, -6, for example. But that might mean across 30 seconds, you have one clip at -6. Whereas you might have a lot of other peaks at say, I don't know, -18. You compare that to a clip of 30 seconds once again, where there are every second several peaks where it's -6. And that's going to feel a lot louder. And even though it has the same peak volume, there's going to be a louder average. And that is what loudness is as opposed to volume. It's how loud audio feels over a period of time, not over a moment. It could be over 30 seconds, could be over an hour. The time, there's no formal time period. Now, loudness is measured in LUFS or LKFS. These used to be two different standards. Now they're the same. It just depends on who the authority is that's telling you. I think LKFS is American and LUFS is European and United Nations. Now, for podcasting, try to get your podcast to about -16 to -18 LUFS, LKFS. That's -16 to -18. And that will give you, well, I'll show you in a moment, that is very similar to what most major podcasts are doing at this point in time. Now, there's another protocol that's also worth taking note of here, and that is one called LRA, which is short for loudness range. And that is consistency of the loudness. You can have your loudness sort of go up and down a little bit over periods of time. If it fluctuates too much, then over the course of a podcast, you might have your listeners turning up the volume and turning down the volume several, half a dozen times or however many times. So it's worthwhile keeping your LRA to between, 3 to 6. That's what I aim for anyway. Now, when it comes to measuring loudness, there's no one built-in plugin within Pro Tools, at least at this point with Pro Tools 12.8, which is the latest release. There's no free way within Pro Tools to measure loudness. There's some paid ones, and they're very well and good if you want to pay. Otherwise, there is a fantastic free one by an audio components manufacturer known as Orban. Now, these guys have been making audio components for professional broadcast settings for decades. And now they've put out, well, not now, it's been a while since it's been out, but they've put out a free audio measurement plugin that measures loudness, which is absolutely fantastic for podcasting. So let's have a look at it now on the PC screen. It's called the Orban Loudness Meter. I've loaded it up here with several popular podcasts. I don't suppose it gets much more popular than Mark Maron's WTF when he interviewed Barack Obama on the request of President at the time, Barack Obama. Now his settings here, you can see there's the waveform, and this blue graph along here is the loudness over time. You'll see that it sort of gets louder and softer. Now the difference between those peaks and those troughs, that's what I was saying before about the LRA. That's the loudness, the consistency. So the all up, the volume averages out at minus 16.8 LKFS, and the LRA, the loudness rating, is 5.9. Now, there's also Tim Ferriss, another very popular podcaster, interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger. You'll see here the loudness rating is a lot less. The consistency, the LRA, is actually, it's more consistent. There's less dynamic involved. So his loudness is minus 19.5. His LRA is down to 2.7. There's also, there's Malcolm Turnbull being interviewed just last week, I believe, on the Hamish and Andy show, which is a very popular radio show here in Australia. And over that podcast, the LRA is 6.6. See, you've got your peak up there and your trough down there. And the difference between that is 6.6, whatever the 6.6 loudness units. And the overall loudness rating is 17.7. Not a major world leader, well, maybe in the world of the internet, Rick Astley, who was on The Nerdist. And that interview was minus 20 LKFS. The LRA is 3.4. And finally, Osher Günsberg, who's a very popular TV and radio personality here in Australia, did an interview just recently with Fiona O'Loughlin, a very popular comic. And that one, the integrated loudness is minus 16 LKFS, and the LRA is 5.1. I would hope this one was good because I produced it. So anyway, there's a good idea of what a lot of popular podcasts are doing when it comes to loudness, and it's what I'd encourage you to aim for with your audio loudness. Now, if you want to read up more about loudness standards, another audio manufacturer, TC Electronic, have got a fantastic page about loudness standards. I've put a link to it in the description field of the YouTube video. If you like this video, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'll keep you up to date with all sorts of different sound stuff. You can also find more of these videos and more information about my podcast editing services and whatever other stuff I happen to be doing at andymar.com. In the meantime, thanks very much for your time. You have a great day.